my friends, again I say welcome, welcome, welcome to another session with our community, because this is not a community, it's a community affair, okay? Everyone is talking about the fact that we have a place where we can watch sports and listen to sports, a roundup of sports that covers not only the Caribbean community, but places where the Caribbean community goes to showcase ourselves like a Tokyo, all right? or I mean, like a Japan, all right? So let me say, welcome again to this episode of John's Sports Corner. And John, without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Thank you so much, Trevor, and a very good afternoon to our family and friends out there. Thanks for visiting and staying with John Sports Corner on the SosoBone Media Network, the global Caribbean media capital.
Yes, yes, yes.
Before my special guest, sports historian, statistician, and honorary secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame, Dale Brown, joins us. Let me remind you to go to the Winner's Circle store in the SosoBone shop and get a gift from the items that are there. Of course, we got t-shirts, we have backpacks, we have mugs, there is sorrel, and of course, the great Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee. So pick up a couple packets and fill that Winner's Circle cup with the coffee. Dale, welcome to John Sports Corner once more. Certainly happy to have you back to look on the just concluded World Track and Field Championships.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm more than happy to be back here with you and look forward to a nice, lively discussion. Thank you for having me.
Before we put our spin on the 20th World Athletics Championships, Dale, Ian Forbes, Jamaica team manager to the championships, addressed athlete transfer of allegiance at the World Athletics Congress and Convention in Tokyo. Do you think World Athletics will address the situation?
Yes, they certainly will, because one of the reasons, one of the, what you say, safeguards that they have in place is that it is never, ever done. That's a switch of allegiance for monetary reasons. And if you listen to all the newscasts and read all the newspapers, etc., money is at the center of this issue. And they have to, they will stamp it out. They will make sure it doesn't happen again.
If World Athletics addresses the concern, could we see a combination of how FIFA and World Basketball addresses allegiance being employed?
Yes, and also cricket, by the way. You have to have that familial, tie to the country, and it has to be clearly established. And actually, they make sure that you are in many ways discouraged, especially if you are still active internationally. Because if, say, you have retired internationally, then it's a different setup. For example, a New Zealander leaving New Zealand and coming to the US, like Corey Wagner did for New Zealand. And he's clearly finished past his prime, not playing international anymore. Of course, he can play for the USA quite easily, as long as he qualifies to be a citizen. But in the regular scenario where someone is at the peak of their career or whatever, no, you're not supposed to leave, especially for monetary reasons. That's not the reason why it was set up. And they have erred and not really policed it properly. And this incident with the Jamaicans will now force them to take actions.
And world basketball, I don't know if I can say, sorry, they're kind of harsh, but you have to have a passport by age 16 of the country seeking your services. You know, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering what World Athletics will come up with now. Athletes are the lowest paid professional sports people. Would the first thing needed is to change the structure of how athletes or how athletics is run? Bear in mind, baseball, soccer, football, these teams are run by multi-millionaires. Athletic clubs, not so.
And that is absolutely true. And it would take a lot of overhauling to achieve that. You look at even the recently concluded World Track and Field, championships. You look at what the 8th place person earns for World Championship. It's beggarly. There's no way they should be making that kind of money. It's not even enough to pay for a round trip plane fare to go to the country where it's being held. And that's a disgrace. But that being said, one thing at a time, the switch of allegiance was never intended for it to be for a richer country to poach athletes from a poorer country. And that in of itself is not a good practice.
You know, dear, from the words of the song, from the movie Sound of Music, how do we fix the problem of world athletics?
I'm sure that they have monies there. For example, you look at the relays. Normally it's 6 people in a pool, and the 6 persons will split the top prize. If that top prize is $40,000, say for second place, like what Jamaica earned in the 2 relays, then when you get that 40,000 to split it for 6, that's you do the math, you see how much each of them will get just for second place. For first place, it's about 13,000 that they will get, just over 13,000 they will get. And it's not for relay to be the equal of an individual race in prize money. Is not a good look. You win a gold medal individually, it's $70,000. And to win it as part of a relay team, you have to split $80,000. For me, it doesn't make any sense.
Let's share our thoughts now on the just concluded World Athletic Championships in Tokyo, and start with the 100s, the so-called marquee event.
Yes.
Three women from Jamaica in the final, 1 from St. Lucia. So you had 4 Caribbean ladies in the final. Our aging veterans, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, and I want to say Sharika Jackson, and 1 youngster from Jamaica in Tina Clayton. Your thoughts on that 100?
Okay, Melissa Jefferson from the USA would have been the overwhelming favorite.
Yes,
in that
sir.
race. And we're just speaking as it is. Julian Alfred as the Olympic champion from last year, and based on her form this year, I would say would be considered the second favorite. The Jamaicans in question, we know that Shelly-Ann is not the Shelly-Ann of old or of younger vintage, and Sharika Jackson, after 2 career-threatening injuries from last year, is on her way back, and she was not race sharp, and the rounds proved that to be true. She seemed just not sharp. Tina Clayton would have been up and coming. She's a past 2-time world junior 100-meter champion. She had a rough start to her professional career, but she showed that she was now ready to fulfill part of that potential, just a small part of it, by the way. And in many ways, they did not disappoint. Sharika managed to finish 4th, which is not a shame for her. She had won the silver medal the last time out, and she finished 4th. Tina Clayton, as I said, fulfilled part of her potential by running 2nd, and a very impressive 2nd. She beat the reigning Olympic champion, and Jefferson right now is just out of their league. So I'm satisfied with the performance right there.
But let me ask you this, Dale. Were you kind of expecting one more big run from Shelly-Ann? Not necessarily a win, but to break out from the start, that would put pressure on the rest of the field?
No, because all season, what has been lacking from her is her explosive start, and that's what she lost. That's where she has really, you can see the difference with Shelly, let's say even 3-4 years ago. That explosive start was no longer there. And I think she did, wow, much more than, you could reasonably expect, that she was able to finish 6th in the final. And I really commend her for it. And if you look at those who finished ahead of her, you have Jefferson, of course, you have Alfred, the Olympic champion, you have a young fireball in Tina Clayton, you have Sharika Jackson, who still has more years left in her, and you have the runner-up in the Olympics from last year, and the defending World Championships champion in Sha'Carri Richardson, finishing ahead of her. At her age and this stage of her career, she did excellent. I'm very proud of her.
Before we go to the men, the core of our young female sprinters, I think, is outstanding. Of course, you have the Clayton twins, Lana Reed, Serena Cole, Kemba Nelson, just to name a few. And hopefully Ashanti Moore will join the party now that she seemed to be putting her right foot forward. What, in your view, does the future look like with our female sprinters?
It would be in very good hands in the Clayton twins. We have 2 magnificent athletes. They are in the top 5 in the world, both of them. And along with Jackson, was a few more years to go. And then you'll now wait for Alana Reed and the Ashanti Moores to come forward. They can come forward. And Brianna Liston, who we have to remember her also. So we are looking for them to mature, to get themselves straight and centered so that they can fill in when the others leave the scene. But the Clayton twins will lead the charge, and Jackson will be there to guide them.
The men's 100 Oblique Seville has fallen apart so often in finals that I guess some of us were a little apprehensive about how he would perform in the final. But all I can say is, what a run.
This is my favorite part of the show now, because I'll tell you, Oblique Seville always flattered to deceive. in the finals of events. He would run very well in the semifinals, as we know, and then he would not perform well in the finals. And we saw an incident last year at the Jamaica Championships. This year, I apologize. This year at the Jamaican Championships, and he was clearly in some kind of distress. It was a physical distress. But we are not doctors and clinical psychologists, so we just know he was in distress. At these championships, in the opening round, he again exhibited some troubling signs. But what we do not know and did not know, and I hope the cricketers and the people from West Indies cricket are listening to this, somewhere along the line, a sports psychologist was introduced to Oblique Seville. Yes. And that gentleman is the difference from the oblique you saw earlier in the year, the oblique you saw 2-3 years ago. The difference is the presence of Dr. Jason Scott Hamilton. That gentleman, he will tell you he didn't do anything, but I will tell you he made a huge difference.
Yes.
In Oblique Seville's camp. It's not just motivating people and telling them, oh, you can win, get up in the morning and just keep repeating, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win. No, there are techniques to use. There are techniques to use, and you go through them just as how you go through shifting your gears when you drive a standard shift. You have to go through the gears mentally, and you have to nurture that mental toughness, and that is the difference that we have seen with Oblique Seville.
Interestingly, I think that's the same sports psychologist who worked with Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, Dr. Jason Scott Hamilton is, I'm not sure where he's from in Jamaica, but he has been around, and he was, I think it is Seville's mother who, introduced him to her son, and he made the difference. And there are other little things about athletes that normally we don't speak about them. When people lose a loved one, close member of their family, we never know how it affects them. And I know Seville's father died not too long ago, and so on and so forth. So it's easy for us to put labels on people, to say that they are no good, but we don't know what they are going through. And sometimes instead of castigating them, we need to support them in whatever way we can do.
Hakeem Blake has not lived up to his potential so far. You think he and Kishian Thompson need the 200 work to help them extend their top end speed in the 100?
That would certainly help. I think I'll deal with Kishian first. Kishian came on, and I think he did really great to get a silver medal at the Olympic Games. People may make whatever excuses they want to make, but this year he got beaten by a Jamaican, and he got beaten by a Jamaican who is now the 10th fastest man in the history, 10th fastest time that he has clocked, and the 5th fastest Jamaican. So there's no shame to Kishian losing. I think, to your point though, running the 200s would definitely help rather than hurt him.
And interestingly today, I think with Oblique, before Kishian came on the scene, Oblique was the person who we were looking to be our next big sprinter.
Yes, absolutely. And it's great now to get a 1-2 is really super. It's great. It's great for us to have that 1-2 punch, and we have to just be thankful for it.
And looking at the future of our male sprinters, of course, Brian Level is there. Oblique is still a very young man. I'm not sure why Bourgeoisie and Crewme has not developed more than he has since his high school days. But how do you see our male sprinters now coming along in the future? Because there are still some big track meets coming up next year.
Yes, and with Seville and Thompson leading the way, and hot on their heels will be Brian Lavelle. In the 100 meters I'm speaking now. He will be hot on their heels. And you still have Akeem Blake, who is a steady performer. I don't think you will see him explode much more. He is what he is, but he's a good person to add depth to the chart. And that's what he will give you. Bouagie and Kuma, you have to wait to see how they mature, how they handle the professional circuit, and whether or not they can handle it. It's not, as we know, track and field is not linear, where because someone runs 10 flat in high school, it means that they're gonna run 9.90 or whatever when they move on to the senior ranks. So we just have to be patient with them. He's in a good camp, good place. Let's hope for the best.
I'm happy for Shericka Jackson, able to put it together to snatch a medal in the 200, and hopefully she can regain complete health for next season.
Yes, she will, because she's fit and she's healthy. It's just a matter of race sharpness with her. I do not think that she raced enough this past season to get that required sharpness, but at the same time, she had to be handled carefully, because when you injure your hamstrings, you have to just be very careful with them. You have to make sure they are properly healed, scar tissues are rubbed out, etc. But as she herself said, she won medals of her talent and, of course, determination, everything. But this one was a faith journey. It was a journey in faith. She had to dig deep for this one, and she did it. And I'm anticipating a full return by next season.
We are still a ways off. Well, even before I touch on that, let's look at Brian Lavelle in the 200, and a lot of us were hoping that he would have been quick enough to win that 200 deal. But it seems as if Mr. Lyles owns that 200 now.
Yes, he does, and he worked extremely hard for it. The 3 top-ranked 200-meter runners in the world, ranked as according to times that they achieved during the season. That's how they finished. Actually, the top 4, because we're not to forget the Olympic champion Tibogo. And for Brian to come out with a medal, it speaks volumes of this young man. Lyles, you have to tip your hat off to him, because it came down to guts, will, and everything to get to that line first, because there were almost 4 across the track. And Lavelle ran an excellent curve, no complaints there. Lyles is just, he didn't win all those championships for nothing. And one thing he has, it's guts. So Lavelle is now the 3rd fastest Jamaican of all time. And, the good thing, he's on his way up. So if he continues to improve, we can see him winning by the next World Championship. And just before we leave Mr. Lavelle, I would just like to say a special mark of respect to his coach, Shanika Osborne, who was much maligned when she did not relent in her what she thought was her true worth And she's showing that she is a top class coach, and we have to give her kudos, you know, for bringing Brian Lavelle to this level. We must remember that she's the one who coached Candice McLeod, who made it to World Championships and Olympic finals. And she also coached Kennedy, young Delano Kennedy, the 400-meter runner. And she was at the MVP camp helping them as an assistant, I guess, when Shelly and Elaine were at their peak. So she's a good coach. That's the bottom line, you know. And she had a few good athletes out in Papine High School.
Yeah.
Because she had Tiffany James, who was a world youth top class runner. She ran very well for Jamaica. And for what it's worth, Tajay Gale also came out from Papine. So
Papine,
special shout out to Miss Osborne.
Right. And you have to wonder, Gail, if our double Olympic 100 meters, 200 champion is not looking on now and wondering if she should bring back Shaniki into her camp or into her training regime.
She would be advised to do so, but you know, she may return to elite, that is Walcott. So whether she goes to elite or optimum, what we'd love to see her do is refocus and recommit herself to the sport. It would take her at least 1 full year to get back anywhere near her best form. So it's going to take a lot of patience from her and her inner circle.
These world championships showed us that we are still a little ways off in the one lap event. And I thought Antonio Watson was coming along after injury. Earlier this year, I saw him in a couple of races that he looked reasonably good. But he seems to be still struggling. And our other one-lappers are just average at the moment.
And yes, and that is true. However, we have to give kudos to Big Boy,
Big boy.
Rasheen McDonald.
Boy, I was praying for him, you know, dear.
I was, yes, praying hard for him to somehow nip that, but he couldn't hold on. But if ever anyone proved guts and determination, was him. I was very happy for him. And finishing fourth, John, as he would tell you, and I'm sure Jackson would tell you also, anytime you finish fourth, it's the worst position for you to finish. It actually literally would be better for you to finish 7th or 8th than finish 4th in many ways, because it's where the what ifs rule the day. You know,
what did I do wrong?
Yes.
Along the way?
Yes, but for him to finish 4th and running so well, I really applaud him at this age and stage of his career.
And I tell you, I kind of beat him up on my program, how he finished in our national championships when he slowed up about 10 meters from the tape and didn't make the qualifying time. You know? And in fact, I figured that he would have had to go sub 44 to medal. And he went, what, 44.2?
Yes, after running 44.03, I think, in the semifinals, and he came back. He just performed extremely well.
Boy, yeah, he really, I am proud of the way he performed, you know. As I say, he left it on the track.
Yes.
Natalia Gould-Toppin has given us her all over the years, but just not able to get a global medal in the 800. You think that was training or just she did the best she could there.
She did the best that she could. I sincerely believe that. I also believe running style. Natoya, I don't know if you have ever seen her or been close to her. She is extremely small.
Mm-hmm.
And if she's not in the lead, when she's around the other ladies, they will toss her around like a rat dog. She doesn't have a physical presence. And it was just, she just had a solid career, but unfortunately not able to, to transfer that into a medal performances.
What a run by Navaski Anderson. I think more speed and endurance work. And he'll go sub 142 again.
He is a huge surprise for him to, one of the things when you go to these championships, you always want to run a personal best. You
Yeah.
always want to show that you belong. And we saw in the sprints, Tina Clayton do that, and she got rewarded for it. We see Oblique Seville did it and got rewarded for it. Unfortunately, Anderson is not going to get rewarded for it, except with a national record. But who would have believed that he would have run 142.76? I don't think many persons would have done it. However, if you track him, who did he train with? That's very important. And he had no other person training with than Marco Era, the Canadian, was second at the Olympics last year and got a bronze medal here this year at World World Championships.
World Championship.
So training with him for various parts of his season would certainly have benefited him, not just physically, but also mentally. And if you watched how aggressively he ran, you realize that maybe he was told, follow me, follow me. And that's what he did until he ran out of gas in the ending of the race. He's going to improve some more as long as he keeps those glasses clear so he can see his way forward. He will do well.
You mentioned about running your best time. I don't know if you saw an interview with Frano Francis after the hundreds, and he was asked about Tina Clayton. And Frano basically said, what can I say? She ran her best time in a championship.
That's all you can ask for.
He was asked the same question about Kishin. And he referred back to what he said about Tina. But it appears to be as if what he was really trying to say, well, Kishin didn't run his best in the championship race.
And he would be correct. The numbers
That's right.
The numbers prove it.
I was figuring one medal in sprint hurdles. And that was really on the women's side. I never saw a medal, much less two, from our men, Orlando Bennett and Tyler Mason.
I would really challenge the person who would say they saw it. Because Rod Bell, who would have been our top hurdler, got hurt. No. And so for me, anyway, I had the possibility of Bennett reaching the finals, not Mason. But lo and behold, both of them made it to the semifinals and they won their semifinals. And this be, well, then I said, one of them will get a medal. And who would have thought that we would get a silver and bronze in that? And, it goes to show that we have had wonderful hurdlers, Parchment and McLeod prior. And now these two young men, Mason especially, has always been there sometimes he makes the national team, sometimes he doesn't. I think he's 29 now. And
Mhm.
Bennett, as always, he's gonna go out there and he's gonna run. And you couldn't ask for a better representation from those two young men. Could not ask. I'm very happy for them.
And can you imagine, Dale? Broad bell out, parchment out, and yet we get 2 medals in sprint hurdles to the men.
Amazing.
Who would have thought that?
Yes, amazing, truly amazing. Very proud
Yeah.
of them. Yes, sir.
And as I said, I thought Akira would have been in that medal chase, but she was not her best.
No, she wasn't. And after her performance at the Diamond League finals, I really felt the hurdles, as you know, is a volatile event. And
Yes.
with the obstacles in the way, you really can't predict with any level of confidence, what anyone will do. But Daniel Williams had looked good. We expected Nugent to do very well. And Kappa, we know, did not face the starter because of injury. But I
Mhm.
still was confident that we could get a medal. But it's not totally a shocker that we didn't. But who
Mhm.
won the race shows you that on the day, any one of those women literally can win the race.
Miss Kambunji.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's funny. I thought Danielle might have gotten a medal had she not hit that second flight.
Absolutely, because she was running well, and
Mhm.
it's just not to be.
And she's just a championship, seemed to be just a championship hurdler.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You have to love her, and you have to love her. Her body of work is how would you say? It's impeccable. She has
Mhm.
always performed well, and she has won what, 3 world championship medals,
Mhm.
inclusive of 2 golds. So
Mhm.
she's great. She's a
Mhm.
great ambassador for Jamaica.
Our 400 hurdlers not there yet. On the ladies' side, Andrenet, Knight, Cheyenne Salmon. I think they still have a lot of work to do to get down to that 51 second rarefied air. Well, I thought Russia and Clark Dale would have made the final.
I will tell you, I thought so too, but once he got hurt in the I think it was the Michael Johnson's
The
Grand
Grand
Slam,
Slam.
that he has
Hmm.
not been the same, didn't make any progress, so to speak, and was not totally healthy. And I expect him to come back next year, with fire in his eyes.
Stronger and better.
Yes, sir.
Let us switch gears now to our field events. I figured 3 medals in field events, but we got only one. And my 3 medals were Ralford Mullings in the discus, Jordan Scott in the triple jump, and Kieran McLeod, long jump. Interestingly, based on how I saw Shanika Ricketts performing the last couple of months, for some reason I thought she was not in the triple jump shape. So I didn't have her medal in. And how can I not have my Olympic silver medalist and former world champion silver medalist not medaling this year? But she didn't look good to me.
I agree with you. Something seemed to be missing, and we're not doing it in hindsight. But she entered like it was very close. The
Hmm.
women, it's not much between like Lafond, Thea
Hmm.
Lafond, and
Hmm.
herself, Jasmine Moore. As we know, Lafond is the Olympic champion. Moore came third. Ricketts came second. But then you have the Cuban. the Cuban Leonis Perez Fernandez.
Perez.
Yes, and you know, so it's very, very difficult, but she just didn't have it in her. And if anyone, you know, she gave it her all. That's the main thing with her. She gave it everything.
In the relays, we did get a couple of medals from our ladies. And but I've been hearing a lot of chatter that one of the Claytons should have been an anchor and not Junior Smith. But I thought Junior Smith ran a masterful leg deal.
Okay. That is, yes. One of the things, you know, the aftermath, people tend not to really understand that once anything changes, the entire dynamics change. So when we make those comments, we are making it that all things being equal would have been in the same position. And it doesn't work like that.
That's right.
And last but not least, you train and you practice in a certain order. So when you go into the race, you're not going to go to the start line and say, John, you anchor and I will run the third leg. It doesn't work like that. And that's why practice, especially in the relays, is extremely important. And they ran very well, and they ran well to play second.
And the women's 4x1, you know, I think it was lost with the Clayton twins button change. But I think who is it? Is it Tina? I think one of them said they couldn't see the marker to when they were to run off deal because of the heavy rain at the time.
Okay. And okay, that's what they said. But what I'll also say is that maybe other persons couldn't see their markers either.
Very well.
You know, if we want to know the truth, I'll tell you the truth. We were that close because Miss Jefferson had a poor outing on the first leg for the
First
USA.
leg, yeah.
She did not run well. The big difference between the two teams was the second leg. Anisha Terry is now developing as a terror, especially on the second leg in relay.
On the second leg.
Yes. She is now running some kind of like, you know, the way Alison Felix used to own that second leg, that's what she is now. And there's nothing, the proof is in the pudding. She split 9.8 and 9.9 in the semifinals and in the finals. Nobody else broke 10 seconds. And that is where the US got a big advantage. Tina Clayton got back that advantage on the third leg by outrunning Kayla White. But then now, that last leg, Smith, even though she closed well, we have to remember it's the same distance that they are running. So whether you close fast or close slow, it's the person who gets to the line first. And the race is not a, you know, 4x101 meters. It's 4x100. Right. So how you finish, yes, but it's who gets to that line first. And
you
so
know, I find it, yeah. Go ahead, dear.
No, just saying, you know, and actually, believe it or not, Richardson split a faster time than Smith on that last leg. And that's according to the switch watch.
Right. But you know what I find interesting? That the twins, they don't have them running 200s, and they ran 200s in high school. I wonder why they're not running 200s.
That's a very good question. And yes, they ran it in high school, but they didn't run it all the way through in high school. They ran it early, but not later on in their
The class
year.
2.
Yes.
They ran class 1 too, you know.
Yes, but they didn't run that 200. It's for some reason they don't really run it. I don't know why. And we have seen a tendency. Even Jefferson this year is when she kind of, said, hey, I'm doing so well at the 100, let me try the 200. But a lot of people, Julian Alfred, they literally had to whip her into shape to get her to run the 200. A lot of these 100-meter runners don't want to do the 200 for whatever reason. You mentioned Boage and Prume earlier. Same thing. And Seville, excuse me for going back, but if you look at Seville, he ran a 400. He ran 200s this year. Not a lot, but enough to let you see that they were serious about getting him, in tip-top shape.
Leading up to the men's 4x1, I never had Kishin anchoring. I don't know why I didn't think to me, he wasn't the right person to run the anchor leg. And as it turned out, people might say hindsight, but before the World Championship, I have it on record that I did not have him anchoring. I had Brian Lavelle as my anchor. But apparently, his coach, from what I understand, only wanted him to focus on the 200. But he was still available to run the relays deal.
Yes, and that is one of the great and unanswered questions, because we will never know if they got to the finals, would he have been included in the team?
Right.
Not practicing with the team. He had not been practicing with the team. That much is clear. But it doesn't mean that he would not have been included. But, the fact that he's not practicing is really a big telltale sign. As opposed to Sharika Jackson, who was practicing with the team because they knew that 3 persons from MVP would have, running on the women's relay. But when you're preparing for the 200, you can't really ask that person now to interrupt their training for the individual event to come and practice with the relay team, because it's not part of their training program. So they would return to the team after the 200. Now, the fact, I'm very troubled, we don't know what took place, why Lavelle would not have practiced with the team prior to the games. But that is troubling. He should have been practicing with the team. And we see when they went over to England, to London, to try to qualify for these championships, he was not one of the persons who was available for it. And so we have to look at it in the wholesomeness and say what was going on, why he didn't make himself available when we really needed him to make sure that we would have qualified.
Well, as I say, I heard that his coaching, his handlers just wanted him to focus on the 200 and get that out of the way. Glenn Mills mentioned in an interview, I don't know if you heard it there, that Oblique Seville is to have toe surgery, but didn't share other information. Have you heard anything on that?
Yes, Oblique, I know when he was in Atlanta for the Atlanta games, that games in the park where they put up all the boards and they run around. When he was there, he had problems with his toe. And that's months ago. So he worked through all of that. It didn't prevent him from doing whatever he had to do, but he had this nagging toe injury from early in the season.
And I guess, and I don't know if it's tongue in cheek, but Mills said when he gets over, hopefully he gets over that surgery, and then he'll run record time in the 200.
Well, he has Mills as his conditioner. He
Yeah.
has Usain Bolt as his motivator. And what else could you ask for?
Why? But they showed us Usain was really riding that horse in the 200 he did.
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
I tell
absolutely.
you, Usain was there with them.
Yes.
The other, how should I say, the remainder of the Caribbean got their share of medals. And Trinidad and Tobago, who seem to be going medalless now in global athletics, got a couple of medals. And the one I think I am kind of most proud of was Jerry Richards getting the silver in the 200, in the 400.
The 400, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because he had to make a choice and he was wise because the 200 is too hot for him. So
Yes.
he was well advised to focus on the 400 because last year he ran well and could have medal but didn't, and focused on it. And I'm very proud of him to get that silver medal. And the other Trinidadian, Kishan Walcott, and I'll just mention the Walcott, he's winning that gold. He has been a consistent performer through the years. Winning gold and bronze, in the
Olympic Games.
Yes, and coming here with it now. And you have to remember, he's been around since it's about 13, 14 years since he's been around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is actually, I think this is his first world championship medal.
Yes, yes. And speaking with, well, yeah, so Trinidad did very well, and considering they have a very, very small team there. I think it was about 5 athletes that went. Yes.
It's interesting how their athletics seem to have fallen off, though, Dale. Is it interest? Is it coaching? I wonder what it is. And I think I heard Atta Boulding commenting on it.
Yes. I don't really know what it is. What I do know, though, is that this year they have 2 high-performance training facilities. One at the Hazley Crawford Stadium and one more to the south of Trinidad, so that athletes wouldn't have to travel, from the south up to Port of Spain to train or to get access to those facilities. And I think they will be back. They will be back, I do believe.
Raj Benjamin disqualified and reinstated in the men's 400 hurdles. And I hear why they disqualified him, but should he have been disqualified because he didn't impede the athlete? It wasn't his fault that maybe it hit the other hurdle. You knocked over the hurdle, yes.
Well, let's say the other person was right next to him or something like that, then they would have had to disqualify him. Because he kicked down his hurdle. He didn't have to do it. And one of the things that we need to look at too, why did he kick down the hurdles? He was looking up at the screen and lost his focus.
Yeah.
And just knock down the hurdles. Clear the hurdle and then look up at the screen.
It's to see who is coming.
Yes,
But I think I saw an interview with him, and he was looking for, what's his name, Carson Warholm? Well,
yes, but as I say, clear the hurdle, take care of your business, and then look for who you want to look for. But great win for him. As you know, he has links to the Caribbean. His father used to play Test cricket for West Indies. So, we are happy for him. He's a local New Yorker and everything like that. So we are extremely happy for him.
Raj says next year he's running the 2 and the 4. No hurdles.
I could see him saying something about the 4, but certainly not the 2. That's a stretch.
And I think he also said, look out, Noah, I am coming.
Maybe he's looking to, for more social media, whatever, but the 200, nah, don't even go there. Not putting any limitations on him. But
Yeah.
that's a lot of fire that you're going into right there.
Only, I think it was only one world record in these games, and that of Armand Duplantis in the pole vault.
Yes, yeah.
So he gets to pocket that 100,000 bonus.
Yeah, from the games, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Since you mentioned Caribbean, I just wanted to mention, of course, we know that Alfred got the bronze in the 100. And we want to give a big shout out to our neighbors, the Cubans, where Leanis Perez Hernandez, she won the gold in the triple jump that we mentioned before. And Thea Lafond from Dominica also got a silver in the triple jump. And then let us not forget Mary Lady Paulino from the Dominican Republic, who ran sub 48 seconds in the women's 400 to garner silver there. So the rest of the Caribbean showed out. And Anderson Peters that you mentioned, who got the silver.
In the javelin.
And finally, Lazario Martinez from Cuba, who got the bronze medal in the triple jump, men's triple jump. So we have to commend our Caribbean neighbors.
And I was
And
kind of surprised that I'm trying to remember the name, Dale, from Grenada,
James?
No, the Grenada Antigua in the multi-sport events. What's his name again? He didn't come through in the World Championships. I think he got a bronze in the Olympics last year and a bronze in the World Championship before. I'm trying to remember his name. Oh boy.
And I know that the guy from Puerto Rico, which is still part of the Caribbean, he got the silver in the decathlon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're talking the multi-event from the Olympics.
Yes. He got the bronze in the decathlon.
Oh boy. I'm trying
and
to
trying to remember his name.
Could it be Victor? Linden?
Yes.
Linden, Joseph, right?
Yes. Linden Victor, yes.
Victor, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you, Professor.
The professor is up on his track and field, man.
I'm telling you, Linden Victor, and I don't know, I forget his name because I love his name. That's a very strong name.
Yes. Linden Victor. Yes, I was kind of surprised that he didn't make it this time. I was looking for him to go better than bronze.
Yes, he did not do well. He did not do very well at all. And he's a consistent performer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember seeing him and he was not the same. Yeah.
You think that these world championships will be can I call it the high water mark for Melissa Jefferson Wooden?
Certainly.
Three gold medals.
Certainly. You know, the two individuals and of course the relay. And
Yeah.
we hope it is the peak of her career because we would like to see our girls come up and dethrone her
Yeah.
at the next cycle, you know. But it's
Yeah.
her time, and she was there and thereabouts. You know, Olympics, she won the bronze medal and so on and so forth. But she belongs to a training group coached by Dennis Mitchell that they provided all the relay team members, female relay team
Yeah.
members
Yeah.
from USA. And of course, Richardson is part of that group. So let's see next year when everyone is healthy, what will happen.
Right. Right. And certainly we have to give Noah Lyles his props, winning his 4th World Championship 200 meters, joining Michael Johnson and Usain St.
Yes, and he is a good person, regardless of what anybody may think, but he does what he has to do. He's good for the sport. And
Yeah.
when it comes down to pure guts, he's gonna spill it. He's gonna spill those guts, and you're gonna have to beat him. He's not gonna hand you any race, any of his races. And you have to admire a person like that.
What was your wow moment in these World Championships, Did?
In terms of performance, it would an historical significance, it would have to be the women 400 meters. To get 3 women to run that high quality race is totally, totally phenomenal, totally amazing. To get 2 of them in the same race running sub 48 seconds, it's gonna take us a little while to understand how significant that is. And it cemented McLaughlin as a once in a lifetime type of an athlete, once in a generation type of athlete, I believe. But class is not dismissed as yet because Paulino is right there. NASA is right there. And
Salwa.
yes, Salwa is right there. So if Sydney is able to run sparingly and conserve energy during the season, she will always have an advantage on them. Because let's face it, she did not compete a lot.
No, she doesn't. She really doesn't.
She does not.
No.
Has never done it. And I thought that that was to her advantage in the 400 hurdles. And it has come around to be the advantage in these races also. But a superbly conditioned athlete, fantastic individual, and she deserves everything. I would just like to hear her out there a little bit more.
And coming that close to, what's her name, Marita Pouch's world record in the 400 open 4.
Yes, and I will tell you this, the only way she will do it is if she splits at 22.8 in the opening 200. She will have to make herself more vulnerable and hit a wall where she's gonna have to fight through that wall. She's a bit conservative in the first 200 meters, and she got out in 22.95 seconds, which is good. But to show you how strong she is, she always finishes in about 24.8 seconds. So where she's gonna make the difference is earlier in the race. And she did that where she was leading after 100 meters and then she backed off in the second 100 meters. And that's how she trained to run. So now for her to break the world record, remember I'm saying to you, it will be because of that second 100 meters where she put her foot down to the hammer, and she will break the world record if she does that.
Do you see, or is there anything else then from these world championships that that caught your eye, or you're not happy with there?
Well, I would say the women's, oh, by the way, another wow moment was the women's 800. And I was, you know, trying to figure which one was really the more wow. But the women's 800, it's a run, and the men's 800. Those two races are now becoming more of a double long sprint, you know, and these guys are running extremely fast. So that takeaway from the women in the 800 and the men in the 800, you know, and the other thing which I think will slip by most persons is the 4x400 meters.
The 4x4 men.
Yes.
Yes.
That to me, again, but what is significant, before I forget, is the world record holder, Wade Van Niekerk. I would suggest to everyone to watch that race again and watch the third leg.
Yes,
Van Niekerk was way behind, and that man split 43.26 seconds for his leg. And all the others were splitting 44, 44, 44.
Yeah.
He was almost a full second ahead of everybody else,
Right.
except his countryman Nene, who split 43.9 on his leg. Ran in the same conditions, same wet track, same water puddles, but somehow he managed to split 43.2. I expect him to return to the 400 meters by next year, or by the next World Championships. I expect him to return, and he will be dangerous for everyone.
Yeah. No, he looked good. He looked good.
And you look at champions like a Faith Kipyegon, you know, you can't help but admire these persons, how dedicated and committed they are to their craft. And you just have to admire them year after year, coming in. And Beatrice Chebet at the 10,000, 5,000 double, magnificent athlete that she is, you know. And you ask for my takeaway again is the camaraderie between the Kenyans. You never see one of them running without the rest of them being in the stands to cheer them on. That stuck to me. I saw Mary Morea, the defending 800-meter champion, stick around to cheer her teammate on and will her to make it to the finals. And believe it or not, John, in the final, the person who could win that race is Keely Hodgkinson. And Mary Morea took her on from the gun, sacrificing her own chances to make sure that her teammate, who was a run-on person coming from behind, would be able to color Hodgkinson and whomever and Hunter Bell in the last part of the race. The Kenyans run as a team and they execute as a team. Don't let two of them be in that same race. You know, you saw Kipyegon. When she was finished running, you saw her go and dive on top of her teammate who came third. You know, and you have to admire, I just admire the teamwork, you know, and to see them celebrate each other's victory. Even if it's third they come, they celebrate it.
Well, you know, with that, it's on to what they call the inaugural Ultimate Championships next year, as World Athletics looking for ways to expand professional athlete season. And as Lord Sebastian Coe said, World Athletics, he wants to have a big meet for World Athletics every year. Do you think this ultimate will work now, deal? I know it's a World Athletics event.
Yes, it will certainly work. And as you know, next year is what we would call a down year. There's no major championships.
Right.
Commonwealth Games, we have allowed it to become a secondary, second tier event. But what I would really like to see World Athletics do is increase the prize money. You know, don't make it ridiculous like what Michael Johnson did and then couldn't pay the participants, but make it something more worthwhile. They really, I think it will be a straight final. So pay them some more money. Just pay them, because when you look at individual, like at these world championships, the gold medalists won $70,000 and second place got $35,000.
Yeah.
You know, I think that double that pot, people can look at it different ways, but I would like to see the money more evenly spread. And if not, you just increase everyone's pot. Because to make it to a world finals and only get $5,000, I don't think that that is very acceptable at all. And God knows that these athletes should get paid more.
We mentioned Michael Johnson deal and the failed Grand Slam. You think he has a court date because he has to pay the athletes? Or will the athletes who allegedly have not been paid yet be paid?
I think that they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that they are paid, because if they are not, he cannot look any one of them in the eye after making all those promises and speaking so big and large about what he was about to do. I always felt it was too much money, not because they don't deserve it, but you have to look at sustainability. And I think I was very surprised and disappointed that he would not have had that money in the bank before he was moving around and putting out these checks and so on and so forth. It's a huge disappointment on his part, and I think he would have been more responsible in his approach.
And you know, from the get-go, I didn't think it was going to work in a deal. And I said it. I don't think it was going to work. From the very first meet in Jamaica, I said, this is not going to work. If it's a one-day meet, yes. But over a few days, no, it's not going to work.
No, I agree with you. And then asking the athletes, you know, the way the money was paid out, you could have just put $50,000 per event rather than force each athlete to run double events. Just do one event. It's either the 100 or the 200 this week, and you get $50,000 to win it. That's it.
You know, I guess it was a new concept, but I didn't think it would work. As I say, if it had to be a one-day meet, you can have athletes coming back to run some second race. You know.
Yes.
Before we go there, I want to share a thought with you. With so many athletics clubs in Jamaica now, how about this? While the national championships remain the avenue to select our national teams, how about it also becoming a club championship with a trophy for the winning club? It means we probably have relays as part of the championship. You think something like that could work?
I would say not for a national championships that is being used as tryouts for naming a world team, whether it's Olympic Games or not, because in the grand scheme of things, the individual, it would turn it upside down, I believe. But I think you take, for example, up to 5, 6 years ago, you could go to the Western relays, like the Milo Western relays or the Gibson relays, and you would see Sprintec, GC Foster, UTech, MVP, and racers out there competing against each other. Usain Bolt against Asafa Powell, Jackson and Shelly-Ann. Well, at that time, you had UTech with Jackson and Elaine Thompson and Shelly-Ann running for the big girls at MVP. So you had a balance and you had good competition. Now you don't have that anymore. We have lost it. But in terms of a national championships, it is tough enough for these people to make the finals, make the teams, and they would not want to run relays or anything like that. I don't think.
Okay, Dale. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and running through our just concluded World Championship performances. And now I guess we'll be looking forward to this, the ultimate, or should I call it the inaugural Ultimate Championships next year, as you know, because Lord Sebastian Coe is very concerned that the professional athlete season is what, like 5.5 months, whereas if you look at other professional sports, it's going maybe 8.5 months. And so he wants to find means and ways of extending athletics as a professional sport. And I hope he comes up with some idea and help athletes earn more money. On that note.
Yes, I agree with you. And just to illustrate a point where it comes back down to money, you've got to get investors and pay these people more money overall. You look at, for example, Athlos, their first place, and this is what they use to catch people. You emphasize how much the first place person is going to get paid, but nobody pays attention to what the second place person is going to get paid. So if I tell you, John, if you win, you get $60,000. And I tell Professor that if you come second, you're winning 25,000. Why that disparity? Why is that much disparity? And you look at the 8th place competitor, they're getting, well, it's not 8th, it's 6th place competitor, getting $2,000, $2,500. You know, that there's no excuse for that. So either cut the events, do something, but pay the athletes more money. And God knows, before all of this, and before all of the ultimate track meet, I would like to see track and field become unionized so that people will get a fair base salary, you know, with their whatever. We have people who are running and you're in a race with someone who's getting $3 million as their base salary and you're beating them, but you're only getting 100,000. As your base salary. You know, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. So they have to unionize it so that you can get equal pay across the board. And we will know that McLaughlin is getting 3 million. So it would stand to reason for Paulino, with all her accolades and everything, to be getting maybe 2.5 or $2.3 million. You know, just like with Muhammad Ali or Floyd Mayweather boxing, they get their money, but the person that is fighting them is also getting their fair share, more than their fair share. Until track and field levels that playing field, where we're going to run into problems. They need to unionize it just the same way baseball, football, basketball, and all these other sports have unions. Track and field must have a union.
And I suppose because track and field has been an, if you want to call it, a so-called amateur sport over the years, and now becoming more moving more into the professional ranks, it's probably taking some growing pains, there.
Absolutely. And if you go back to the 70s, when they would go to meets and an envelope is passed to the athlete with X amount of dollars in there, and he would walk away off to the side all by himself because I don't want John to see how much money I got, you know, because my envelope is fatter than John's.
Yeah.
We have not really moved from those days because outside of the actual prize money, we do not know what the base retainer fee is for that individual athlete. So when you negotiate, excuse me, when you negotiate, you don't have any grounds by which to negotiate. I don't know that you are getting, let's say an American athlete just finished college, win the NCAAs, they're getting $300,000 per year. But you get another athlete, win the same event the next year, and get $120,000. Why? And they have similar times, similar performance output, similar age. Why the discrepancy?
I guess somewhere along the line, I guess somebody will fix that.
Yes,
But
yes.
but I don't know what the fix is.
They just need to be more transparent with their monies.
Okay. Again, Dale, thanks a lot, man, and in joining us here on John Sports Corner this Wednesday afternoon. And we have a lot more to talk about in the coming months. And again, I guess I just love sports, Dale.
Yes. And you are a good sportsman also.
Well, not sure so good, but but thank you, sir. And that's a wrap for this afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on John Sports Corner as we reviewed the 2025 and the 20th World Track and Field Championships that just concluded in Tokyo, Japan. See you next week.